الحمد لله وكفى والصلاة والسلام على عباده الذين اصطفى خصوصا على أفضلهم وخاتم النبيين محمد الأمين وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. أما بعد فقد قال الله تبارك وتعالى كما ورد في وسط سورة النور: أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الله نور السماوات والأرض مثل نوره كمشكاة فيها مصباح المصباح في زجاجة الزجاجة كأنها كوكب دري يوقد من شجرة مباركة زيتونة لا شرقية ولا غربية يوقد من شجرة مباركة زيتونة لا شرقية ولا غربية يكاد زيتها يضيء ولو لم تمسسه نار نور على نور يهدي الله لنوره من يشاء ويضرب الله الأمثال للناس والله بكل شيء عليم. في بيوت أذن الله أن ترفع ويذكر فيها اسمه يسبح له فيها بالغدو والآصال رجال لا تلهيهم تجارة ولا بيع عن ذكر الله وإقام الصلاة وإيتاء الزكاة يخافون يوما تتقلب فيه القلوب والأبصار ليجزيهم الله أحسن ما عملوا ويزيدهم من فضله والله يرزق من يشاء بغير حساب. والذين كفروا أعمالهم كسراب بقيعة يحسبه الظمآن ماء حتى إذا جاءه لم يجده شيئا ووجد الله عنده فوفاه حسابه والله سريع الحساب. أو كظلمات في بحر لجي يغشاه موج من فوقه سحاب ظلمات بعضها فوق بعض إذا أخرج يده لم يكد يراها ومن لم يجعل الله له نورا فما له من نور. صدق الله العظيم. رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي امري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقهوا قولي. اللهم ربنا الهمنا رشدنا واعذنا من شرور انفسنا. اللهم ارنا الحق حقا وارزقنا اتباعه وارنا الباطل باطلا وارزقنا اجتنابه. اللهم اهدنا لنورك اللهم اهدنا لنورك اللهم اهدنا لنورك آمين يا رب العالمين. This is the third lesson of the second part of our selected course of study of the Quran, which we are discussing in these sessions. Just like the third lesson of the first part, this lesson also consists of full one ruku, one section. As you must be remembering, the third lesson of the first part was the second ruku of Surah Luqman. And I told you in my preliminary lecture, which was regarding the introduction to the Quran, the basic terminology, that although this division of bigger surahs into rukus, it was not present in the days of the Prophet or the days of the companions of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam wa radiyallahu ta'ala anhum ajma'in. This was done later. But mostly we find that this division is very appropriate. Some subject is completely discussed in one ruku. So this is another example, just as the example that we had before, the second section or the second ruku of Surah Al-Luqman, it was complete in itself. The discussion started and ended in that one ruku. In the same way, a full subject is discussed here also. Now this is the most central part of this surah, Al-Noor. Because this surah, Surah Al-Noor, it consists of 9 sections, and this is the 5th. And this is so important that the whole surah has been named after these ayat. Surah Al-Noor, and these are the ayat Al-Noor. Allahu nuru samawati wal ard masalu nurihi. So actually, after this ruku, the whole surah is named. Now first of all, let me translate this ruku. The whole passage should come before you so that we can make an idea of the subject that is being discussed here. Allahu nuru samawati wal ard. Allah is the light of the heavens and the earth. Masalu nurihi. The similitude or parable of his light is kamishkatin fiha misbah, as if there is a niche in which there is a lamp. Al-misbahu fi zujaja. The lamp is enclosed in a glass. Al-zujajatu ka'annaha kawkabun durriyun. And the lamp appears to be as if it is a shining star or a glittering star or a radiant star. يوقد من شجرة مباركة زيتونة لا شرقية ولا غربية. This lamp is lit or it is kindled with the oil of a blessed olive tree, which is neither eastern nor western. لا شرقية ولا غربية. يكاد زيتها يضيء. Its oil is ready to kindle, to glow up, to burn up. وَلَوْ لَمْ تَمْسَسْهُ نَارٌ. Although fire might not have touched it. نُورٌ عَلَى نُور. This is light over light. يَهْدِ اللَّهُ لِنُورِهِ مَن يَشَاءُ. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala guides to his light whomsoever he desires. And the other translation is, whosoever desires to be led. We shall discuss later on. وَيَضْرِبُ اللَّهُ الْأَمْثَالَ لِلنَّاسِ. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala propounds parables and allegories for people. وَاللَّهُ بِكُلِّ شَيْءٍ عَلِيمٌ. And Allah knows everything. He is in the exact and true knowledge of everything. فِي بُيُوتٍ أَذِنَ اللَّهُ أَن تُرْفَعَ. In the houses which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has permitted or ordered to be raised and exalted. وَيُذْكَرَ فِيهَا اسْمُهُ. And that his name should be glorified and celebrated in them. يُصَبِّحُ لَهُ فِيهَا. He glorifies or extols the limitless glory of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in those houses, بِالْغُدُوِّ وَالْآصَالِ. In morning as well as the evenings. رِجَالٌ. The courageous people. لَا تُلْهِيهِمْ تِجَارَةٌ وَلَا بَيْعٌ عَنْ ذِكْرِ اللَّهِ. Whom neither a trade or profession or bargain can prevent or divert from the remembrance of Allah by iqam as-salah and establishing the obligatory prayer, wa ita'i zakah, and paying the obligatory charity. يَخَافُونَ يَوْمًا تَتَقَلَّبُ فِيهِ الْقُلُوبُ وَالْأَبْصَارُ. They keep fearing the day in which the hearts and the eyes will be convulsed or overturned. لِيَجْزِيَهُمُ اللَّهُ أَحْسَنَ مَا عَمِلُوا. With the result that Allah will reward them best of their actions. وَيَزِيدَهُمْ, and will increase and add to it min fadli, from His grace. وَاللَّهُ يَرْزُقُ مَنْ يَشَاءُ بِغَيْرِ حِسَابٍ, and Allah gives and feeds to whomsoever He wants without any bounds. وَالَّذِينَ كَفَرُوا, as for those who don't believe or who suppress the testimony of their nature, أَعْمَالُهُمْ كَسَرَابٍ بِقِيَةٍ, their good deeds are like a mirage in the desert. يَحْسَبُهُ ظَمْآنُ مَاءً, a thirsty man, thirsty person, thinks that it is water. حَتَّى إِذَا جَاءَهُ, but when he reaches that place, لَمْ يَجِدْهُ شَيْئًا, he doesn't find it to be anything, no water. وَوَجَدَ اللَّهَ عِنْدَهُ, he finds Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala there. فَوَفَّاهُ حِسَابًا, and He pays him his dues. He settled with him his account. وَاللَّهُ سَرِيعُ الْحِسَابِ, and Allah is swift in reckoning. أَوْ كَظُلُمَاتٍ, or those deeds are like the darknesses فِي بَحْرٍ لُجِّيٍّ, in a deep and abysmal sea. يَغْشَاهُ مَوْجٌ مِّن فَوْقِهِ مَوْجٌ, which is being covered by billows and billows over billows. مِّن فَوْقِهِ سَحَابٌ, and on top of it there is cloud. ظُلُمَاتٌ بَعْضُهَا فَوْقَ بَعْضٍ, these are darknesses upon darknesses. إِذَا أَخْرَجَ يَدَهُ, when he stretches his own hand, his own arm, لَمْ يَكَدْ يَرَاهَا, he cannot see it. وَمَنْ لَمْ يَجْعَلِ اللَّهُ لَهُ نُورًا, and whomsoever Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has not given nur, light, فَمَا لَهُ مِن نُور, then there is no light from him whatsoever. صدق الله العظيم. Now what's the subject of these ayat? Before we start the discussion word by word and ayah by ayah, what is the subject? The subject of this third lesson of the second part of our selected course of study is the same as that of the second lesson. What was the title that we gave to the second lesson? The constituents and synthesis of Iman. What are the constituent parts of Iman, and how Iman comes into being step by step? How is it synthesized? First of all, Iman Billah, we saw, you have to believe on the basis of your nature, your intuition. But then keeping Allah in your mind and in your heart, when you think and you use your intellect, الَّذِينَ يَتَفَكَّرُونَ, then you reach another conclusion, that there's nothing in this world, in this universe, which is without any purpose. And when you see and you peep within your own personality, you find there is some differentiation between evil and good. And that leads you to the conclusion that there should be some day of judgment, and there should be another life in which good should beget good and evil should beget evil. And then you know, when the call to the same effect from a messenger of Allah comes to the ear of such a person, he responds immediately, instantaneously, and comes to believe. رَبَّنَا إِنَّنَا سَمِعْنَا مُنَادِيًا يُنَادِي لِلْإِيمَانِ أَنْ آمِنُوا بِرَبِّكُمْ فَآمَنَّا. And in the sixth ayah then we found that there was one side of the character, personality of these people has been given, that is of hijrah and jihad and exertion in the way of Allah and being ready to lay down their own lives. فَالَّذِينَ هَاجَرُوا وَأُخْرِجُوا مِنْ دِيَارِهِمْ وَأُوذُوا فِي سَبِيلِي وَقَاتَلُوا وَقُتِلُوا. Now this is, in essence, or in short, our lesson number 2 of the second part. Here you will find the same, but in a different way. These, are 8 ayat, and you can very well see that the 6 ayat out of these 8, they are discussing the same subject. But the approach is different. The methodology is different. The style is different. As I quoted, for those of you who can appreciate Urdu, एक फूल का मजमू हो तो 100 रंग से बांधो. In Quran we find, this style, discussing the same subject in different words, different styles, in different contexts, so that there is no monotony. There is repetition, but without any monotony. So one style, it clears one aspect of the same subject. Another style will clear the same subject from another angle. So that is the same case here. The previous lesson and this lesson, the 6 ayat of this lesson, they are again giving us what are the constituents of Iman and how Iman comes into existence. But here the approach is different, as we shall see shortly, inshallah. About the rest of the 2 ayat, they are giving us an explanation or a deep insight into 2 shades of kufr. There is a very famous saying in the Arabic language, تُعْرَفُ الْأَشْيَاءُ بِأَزْدَادِهَا. So many things and so many realities become more evident in the background of something which is contrasting. White color becomes more white in a black background, and a black color becomes more black, appears to be more evidently black if the background is white. So this is what we call the simultaneous contrast. So here we will find a simultaneous contrast, a simile or a parable for Iman, then 2 similes here. This is very important part of the Quran. 2 similes, 2 parables for 2 different shades of kufr. All kuffar are also not equal, as all the believers are not equal. The level of Iman, the depth of Iman, the depth of commitment, the depth of yaqeen, differs from person to person. The intensity and depth of Abu Bakr radiallahu ta'ala and the intensity or depth of the Iman of any one of us, there can be no ratio proportion. In the same way, all kuffar are also not equal. As there is a very beautiful couplet in Persian, na har zan zanasto, na har mard mard, khuda panj angush yaksa na kard. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has not made all these fingers equal. They are of different sizes. Hence, there are different shades and levels and stages of kufr. There are different shades and levels of Iman. So here we shall find 2 parables, 2 similitudes for 2 different shades of kufr. Now the next point, what's that difference of style in approaching and discussing the subject of the reality of Iman, the constituents of Iman? What are these 2 different styles? I use 2 terms, of modern psychology. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has made different people having different natures, different temperaments. Some of us are extroverts who are busy in the external world. They never peep into their own hearts. Some other people are introverts. They keep happy when they are alone, and they are all the time brooding and thinking as if, they are peeping into the depths of their own personality. There are very few people who are balanced, and they call them ambiverts, who have both the qualities. And most of the cases, this ambivalence becomes very dangerous. If you are one-sided, you remain safe. If there is ambivalence, it's very difficult to keep it. Anyhow, I'm not going into detail of this subject. So ambivalent, then ambiverts, extroverts, introverts. Now for the extroverts, Quran invites their attention to the ayat and signs which are there in the universe. وَفِي الْأَرْضِ آيَاتٌ لِلْمُوقِنِينَ. There are our signs in the earth, in the universe around you. إِنَّ فِي خَلْقِ السَّمَاوَاتِ وَالْأَرْضِ وَاخْتِلَافِ اللَّيْلِ وَالنَّهَارِ. Well, these are the signs of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, as we discussed in the previous lesson. But they are outside our own personalities. Then Quran says, وَفِي أَنفُسِكُمْ أَفَلَا تُبْصِرُونَ. There are our signs within your own personalities also. Don't you peep? Don't you see? So actually the signs of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, as I quoted another ayah from the end of Surah Hamim As-Sajdah. Surah Fussilat. سَنُرِيهِمْ آيَاتِنَا فِي الْآفَاقِ وَفِي أَنفُسِهِمْ حَتَّى يَتَبَيَّنَ لَهُمْ أَنَّهُ الْحَقُّ. We shall reveal to them and we shall show to them our signs in the afaq, in the world around, in the universe around, وَفِي أَنفُسِهِمْ, and within their own selves also. So these are two fields of the ayat of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So extroverts will be invited to see and recognize Allah and know Allah through the ayat of the universe, of the external world. And the introverts, they will be invited to peep into their own personalities, into the depths of their own personalities, and they will see the signs of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala over there. Then I quoted to you the saying of the famous philosopher Kant. He says that there are two arguments for the existence of God, Creator. The starry heavens above and the moral law within. Again you find the same division or distinction. The starry heavens are over you, outside, and the moral law, the differentiation that each human is making between good and evil. He knows it. This is good, this is bad. This is the moral law within his own personality, within the realm of his own psyche. He has it. So actually this also denotes to two different fields. Then Allama Iqbal, in Urdu, he has actually given it in the best and most beautiful form. Khol aankh zami dekh, falak dekh, faza dekh. Mashriq se ubharte hue suraj ko zara dekh. Open your eyes. Look to the heavens. Look to the earth. Look to the sun, the rising sun from the east. It's the same style as I quoted the ayat. أَفَلَا يَنْظُرُونَ إِلَى الْإِبِلِ كَيْفَ خُلِقَتْ وَإِلَى السَّمَاءِ كَيْفَ رُفِعَتْ وَإِلَى الْجِبَالِ كَيْفَ نُصِبَتْ وَإِلَى الْأَرْضِ كَيْفَ سُطِحَتْ. All these are the signs of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala which are there in the outside world. Khol aankh zami dekh, falak dekh, faza dekh. Mashriq se ubharte hue suraj ko zara dekh. And on the other side, अपने मन में डूब कर पाजा सुरागे जिंदगी. Just dive deep into your own personality, your psyche, and you will find the secret of existence. The secret of existence you will find within your own personality. अपने मन में डूब कर पाजा सुरागे जिंदगी. So actually, on the one side now again, I am comparing these two things. The extroverts, the introverts. For the extroverts, وَفِي الْأَرْضِ آيَاتٌ لِلْمُوقِنِينَ. For the introverts, وَفِي أَنفُسِهِمْ وَفِي أَنفُسِكُمْ أَفَلَا تُبْصِرُونَ. And in that ayah, both are joined. سَنُرِيهِمْ آيَاتِنَا فِي الْآفَاقِ وَفِي أَنفُسِهِمْ حَتَّى يَتَبَيَّنَ لَهُمْ أَنَّهُ الْحَقُّ. According to Kant, the starry heavens above and the moral law within. According to Iqbal, khol aankh zami dekh, falak dekh, faza dekh. And on the other side, अपने मन में डूब कर पाजा सुरागे जिंदगी. And on this side now, there will be some discursive argument, discursive knowledge, inference, step by step, as I told you in the previous lesson. First you have to know Allah on the basis of your intuition, your nature, it will tell you. But now from Allah, Iman billah to Iman bil akhirah, there is a chain of argument. So if there is some element of discursive, knowledge, which comes to man step by step. But on the other side, intuition gives you knowledge instantaneously. I feel so. I can't say how. I can't prove it. I don't know why, but I feel so. This feeling actually, intuitively I feel that it is like that. And it is spontaneous. There's no gradual, step by step journey to some conclusion. It's spontaneous, instantaneous. And now, let me give you the example, how Maulana Room has described the difference between the two. In the form of a story, he says that in the court of some Chinese emperor, there came some artists, musawwir, painters from Rome. And they declare, we are the master of our art. If there are any artists in your country, Let us have a competition. Who know the art of painting and making pictures more? So what the emperor did, he ordered 2 walls to be built, side by side, against each other, and between the 2 there was a curtain. 1 wall was given to these people. Now you just show off what you have. Paint something. Let us see how good you paint. And what's your painting? What's the quality of your art? And to the others, the other wall. The curtain was there. Why? That when you see them simultaneously, then you can compare. Otherwise, comparison becomes difficult. You see something, then you go to another room to see another thing. So it becomes very difficult to compare the 2. It should be a simultaneous comparison, so that when the curtain is removed, you can see both the paintings at one time simultaneously. Now what did the Roman, the artists they took very great pains, to paint a very beautiful scenery. What did the Chinese do? They just glazed their wall. It became a mirror. Now what happened? Now when the curtain was raised, all the labor that they had done was reflected in the mirror that they had made. This now gives you 2 modes. One is discursive knowledge, step by step, taking pains, thinking, brooding, from one influence to another, then from one step to another. The other is you purify your hearts, and all knowledge will be found reflected in it. Because this heart, this human heart, in which dwells the soul, the spirit, it has everything. Only, as I told you, it is rusted. كَلَّا بَلْ رَانَ عَلَىٰ قُلُوبِهِمْ مَا كَانُوا يَكْسِبُونَ. Their hearts have become rusted. They can't reflect the reality. Only you just have to settle it, polish it. If your hearts are purified, you will see everything. All knowledge, as Maulana Room says, Bini andar dil ulume ambiya, be kitabo be moido osta. You can see within your own hearts the total knowledge that came to the prophets of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Without the help of any book, any teacher, any master, nothing. But the hearts have to be purified. This is actually the difference between the 2 modes. Now, one point more about this preliminary points that I usually make before every lesson. Please note that this Surah An-Noor, it is the Madani Surah of the 4th group of the Makki and Madani Surahs that I mentioned in my introductory lecture. There are 7 groups, each group starting with 1 or more of Makki Surahs, ending with 1 or more of the Madani Surahs. Then second group starts, as we find. In the first, we have Surah Al-Fatiha, is Makki. Then Surah Al-Baqarah, Surah Al-Imran, Surah Al-Nisa, Surah Al-Ma'idah, Madani. First group ends. Second, now Surah Al-An'am, Surah Al-Araf, Makkiyat. Surah Al-Anfal, Surah Al-Tawbah, Madaniyat. Second, completes. In the third we find, I should say the third group. The third group starts from Surah Yunus. There are 14 surahs which are Makki, and then only 1 comes, and that is Surah Noor. In the fourth, again, there are 8 Makki surahs, and then again 1, that is Madani, and that is Surah Al-Ahzab. Now these 2 Madani surahs, Surah An-Noor and Surah Al-Ahzab, they are in the Musaf alone. They don't have any pair. But if you ponder over the contents of both these surahs, you will find there's a very close resemblance. These surahs are like sisters according to the verse used by Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Shayyabatni Hudun wa akhawatuha, he said. Surah Hud and its sisters. So these surahs of the Quran, which are very close to each other about the contents and the topics discussed. So the Prophet himself used the word akhawat, they are the sisters. So, or we can call them the pair. Surah Al-Noor or Surah Al-Ahzab. They are very similar, same subject discussed, very close. according to the sequence of revelation. Surah Al-Ahzab was revealed in the 5th year after Hijrah. There's no doubt, agreed upon. Because, the battle of Ahzab was fought and which happened in the 5th year after Hijrah. And either in the last part of the same 5th year after Hijrah or the beginning of the 6th year after Hijrah, it is the time of the revelation of Surah Al-Noor. They are very close and they are very similar to each other. And we shall refer, later that the subject which has been discussed in the ayah number 35 of Surah Al-Noor, which is the first of our lesson which we are going to discuss today, it has a very corresponding ayah, the same number, ayah number 35 of Surah Al-Ahzab. Then I will refer it later, inshallah. As I told you, that in this Ruku there are 3 parables. So let me discuss this issue first. Why there are parables and similitudes in the Quran, and we find them in the former books also, revealed books. We find, many of them in Bible. And one of the Hawariyin, he once asked the Prophet, Jesus alayhi salatu wasalam, why do you speak in parables? So actually there are parables in the revealed books. We find them in Quran, and we shall be studying 3 of them today. Why are these parables used in the Quran? Why not clear and simple explanation and narration of the things? The reason is that some of the metaphysical realities of this universe are so sublime, so subtle, that they cannot be expressed in the languages of men, because these languages which we speak, they are actually made by men. They are based on our observations. Every language, whether it is English or it is Arabic or it is Hebrew or it is Sanskrit or it is any other language, actually the language, it's of men. They make it, and it's based on their own concepts, conceptions, on their own observations, and all these things being limited. Languages, human languages are limited, and the absolute realities, the boundless realities, the metaphysical realities, they cannot be expressed fully in our languages. But it's necessary to give us some idea of these facts, these metaphysical facts. Hence, there is the need of using parables. Parables take us near that subject. They can give us some understanding of the subject. So actually, that is why we shall find in this Ruku the verse, يَضْرِبُ اللَّهُ الْأَمْثَالَ لِلنَّاسِ وَاللَّهُ بِكُلِّ شَيْءٍ عَلِيمٌ. Actually, these parables are needed by men, not by Allah. Allah knows the exact reality of everything. And He doesn't need any parables. But because human understanding is limited, and because the languages in which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is revealing His, speech, those languages have limitations of their own. Hence, these sublime and subtle realities cannot be expressed clearly in those languages, and therefore the help of the parables are needed. That is why Allah says, وَيَضْرِبُ اللَّهُ الْأَمْثَالَ لِلنَّاسِ وَاللَّهُ بِكُلِّ شَيْءٍ عَلِيمٌ. Allah knows everything as it is. But because human mind cannot appreciate, cannot have the understanding, and the human language doesn't have the capacity of expressing these subtle metaphysical realities, so there is the need of parables. Now we start. Allahu Noor Samawati wal Ard. Allah is the light of the heavens and the earth. Now first of all we must understand what light is. Light, what we understand about light is, in physics, it belongs to this world of matter. The rays of light, the speed is 186,000 miles per second. It travels with such a tremendous speed. It's the most constant, thing in this world of matter, but it does belong to the world of matter. It's the subject of the physics. But what is light actually? It is the medium of vision. We see through light. There is light, I am seeing you, you are seeing me. If there is no light, I am also here, you will be there. but nor I will be able to see you, neither you will be able to see me. So it's the medium of vision. We are seeing through light. It is necessary for our vision. Now, this is the external vision, which we call basarat. There is an internal vision also, which I discussed yesterday also. Allama Iqbal discusses it in the first lecture. Experience is not only external, it is internal also. As Quran says, hearts also see. Because there is an ayah in Surah Al-Hajj, فَإِنَّهَا لَا تَعْمَلْ أَبْصَارِ وَلَكِنْ تَعْمَلْ قُلُوبُ الَّتِي فِي الصُّدُورِ. These eyes don't go blind. Abu Jahl was not blind of these eyes. His heart was blind. His heart couldn't see the realities, the hidden realities of this universe, which is the subject matter of Iman. The subject matter of Iman is not this world of physics, not the world of physical matter. This world of physical matter, it can be studied through these eyes, through these ears, external sense organs. That is actually the means to know all these physical realities. But the hidden realities, they have to be seen through the eyes of your heart. That is which we call basira. Basarat and basirat. We pronounce it like that in Urdu. But in Arabic, basara and basira. Basira is some internal vision. The internal insight that you have. For that also you need light. And actually, Allah is that inner light. If you know Allah, if you have the Iman Billah, then you will see all the hidden realities of this universal existence. If you don't know Allah, you don't believe in Allah, this whole inner reality will remain absolutely out of the domain of your insight. Because, as I quoted the ayah, فَإِنَّهَا لَا تَعْمَلْ أَبْصَارِ وَلَكِنْ تَعْمَلْ قُلُوبُ الَّتِي فِي الصُّدُورِ. Of Abu Jahl and Abu Lahab, these eyes were not blind. Abu Lahab had very big eyes, very shining eyes. His complexion was very fair, He was Abu Lahab. He was just like, a live cold cinder. So glowing. But his heart was blind. His heart was deaf. Actually, this heart also sees according to the Quran. This heart also listens according to the Quran. لَهُمْ قُلُوبٌ لَا يَفْقَهُونَ بِهَا وَلَهُمْ أَعْيُنٌ لَا يُبْصِرُونَ بِهَا وَلَهُمْ آذَانٌ لَا يَسْمَعُونَ بِهَا أُولَٰئِكَ كَالْأَنْعَامِ بَلْ هُمْ أَضَلُّ. They are like animals, they are like cattle. Cattle have eyes, they are seeing something. We are also seeing only the external realities, then we are equal to the cattle. The dog also can see that a car is coming and I have to save myself. If you have seen that a car is coming, and I must save myself, then what is the difference between that dog and you? No difference. But there is some other realm of vision, the hidden realities of this universe, and they can be seen only through the eyes of your heart. And that heart becomes blind. فَإِنَّهَا لَا تَعْمَلْ أَبْصَارِ وَلَكِنْ تَعْمَلْ قُلُوبُ الَّتِي فِي الصُّدُورِ. So Allah is that inner light. This is the external light. Be it of electricity or be it of the sun or the moon. This is the external light. Our external vision, our seeing each other, it depends upon this light. Our eyes are okay, but the light is not there, we can't see. If the light is there, eyes are okay, we have lost our eyesight, even then we can't see. So to see, to have this external vision of this physical world, two things are necessary. Your eyesight should be okay, and number two, there should be light. In the same way, to have the knowledge of the hidden facts of this universe, the hidden facts of existence, the subject matter of Iman, again here you need two things. Your heart should be okay, the insight, it must have the insight, and number two, you must have the light of the Iman on Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Then you will be able to see the hidden realities of this existence, which is the subject matter of Iman. This is what these words mean. Allahu nuru samawati wal ard. Allah is the light, not this light, which travels with a speed of 186,000 miles per second. This belongs to alam-e-khalq. It is not a case of alam amr. In alam amr, no time element is present. Innama amruhu iza arada shay'an fa innama yaqulu lahu kun fayakun. No time element whatsoever. It's absolutely instantaneous. It's actually this alam khalq, this alam, this world of the physical existence. Here always time element is essential. You know, a seed has to take some time to become a tree. It cannot become a tree instantaneously. The human sperm, that is embedded in the womb of the mother, it has to take 9 months so that it becomes a child, a human child. Time element is always involved in khalq. As Quran says in so many places, خَلَقَ السَّمَاوَاتِ وَالْأَرْضَ فِي سِتَّةِ أَيَّامٍ. This takhliq, this khalq, this creation of the physical world was completed in 6 days. And those are not the 6 days of having 24 hours, each hour having 60 minutes, and each minute having 60 seconds. No. Maybe there are 6 millenniums. 1 day equal to 50,000 years. We have the ayah in the Quran. Or 1,000 years. So it can be a millennium, as the scientists say. These 6 days can be 6 millenniums in which the creation of this physical world was completed. But in alam amr, innama amruhu iza arada shay'an fa innama yaqulu lahu kun fayakun. Actually our souls, our spirits, they belong to alam amr. Yasaluna kani ruh, quli ruh min amri rabbi. But our animal existence, our bodies, they belong to alam khalq. Now this light actually stands somewhere at the border between alam khalq and alam amr. It belongs to alam khalq. But you know, it's the most constant thing, the most subtle and sublime thing of this alam khalq. So nearest which can be used as a parable for those the realities of the alam amr is light, because this is the most subtle, most sublime reality of this alam khalq. Allahu Noor samawati wal ard. But here what does it mean? You have to know Allah first to see the hidden realities of this existence. The philosophical and metaphysical realities of this existence can be seen by a normal and healthy heart through the agency of Iman Billah. You come to believe in Allah first, and then everything will become apparent to you. All this, problem will be solved. Masalu Noorehi. Now comes the parable. The similitude or parable of his Noor, his light, is here regarding the translators which I am consulting and the Mufassirin, which I have studied especially, who have written tafasir in Urdu. Maulana Maududi has committed a very big blunder here. And that is, he has said that this is a simile for the person of Allah. For the person of Allah there can be no simile whatsoever, no parable. The person of Allah, Zat, it is absolutely incomprehensible, inconceivable, inexpressible, unimaginable. As I told you, Wara'ul Wara, Summa Wara'ul Wara, Summa Wara'ul Wara. I was happy that one of the English translators, Allama Muhammad Asad, has discussed this subject very beautifully. And there is a quotation. I'm surprised why Maulana Maududi couldn't, perhaps he just omitted it. The Tabari, Allama Tabari has given, Allama Ibn Kasir has given, Allama Baghawi has given a saying of Abdullah ibn Abbas radiyallahu ta'ala anhuma. And about the exegesis of Quran, we have to look to, from among the Sahaba, the knowledge of the tafsir comes and ta'wil comes from Abdullah ibn Abbas radiyallahu ta'ala. And the disciples from Tabi'een who got that knowledge of tafsir from Abdullah ibn Abbas. As I told you, the Prophet himself sallallahu alayhi wasallam had prayed to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala about Abdullah ibn Abbas, Allahumma faqihhu fid deen wa allimhu ta'wil. Oh Allah, you give this young man the real and deep understanding of your deen and the ta'wil and tafsir, meanings of your book Quran. So actually this prayer of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala was, of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, was granted by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And most of the knowledge of tafsir comes from Abdullah ibn Abbas radiyallahu ta'ala, and he says that here masalu nurehi, and after that the words are understood fi qalbil mu'min. Masalu nurehi fi qalbil mu'min kamishkatin fiha misbah, al misbahu fi zujaja, az zujajatu ka'annaha kawkaban durriyun yuqadu min shajaratin mubarakatin zaytunatin ila akhir al-ayah. So parable and similitude is for the light of Iman, not for the person of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. There can be no simile, no similitude, no parable for Allah's person. Because we have in Surah Shura, ayah number 11, Laysa kabislihi shayyun. There's nothing which can be compared to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Misl, equal, or something resembling. Kamislihi, Laysa kamislihi shayyun. This is nothing. Walam yakul lahu kufuwan ahad. Nothing comparable. He is so unique, absolutely unique. There can be no similitude, there can be no parable for the person of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So actually, this parable is for Iman. What is Iman? What is the Noor of Iman? Where from it comes? What are the constituent parts of this Noor? That is why we find Noorehi, Masalo Noorehi. Now Noorehi, everybody should understand, and it's very easy. This is the possessive mood of the pronoun. I and my. This is my pen. When the possessive mood comes, two things are different. I is different, pen is different. I possesses this pen. I, my pen. So actually this is possessive mood. Noorehi, his light. Not him. It's not the misal or the tamsil for him, for his person. It's the tamsil, it's the tashbih for his light. Masalul nurehi, and his light is Iman. And as I gave you, this is the saying of Abdullah ibn Abbas radiyallahu ta'ala anhuma, that here the words are, so to say, hidden, understood. Masalul nurehi fi qalbil mu'min kamishkatin fiha misbah. As if there is a niche. You know, mishkat, I have read the word niche everywhere. But you know, mishkat used to be, in the olden days, especially in the East, you know, something in the form of a, mihrab. That used to be the shape of the mishkat, in which some lamp used to be placed. And you will find that this chest, this cage of our ribs, is just like a mishkat. Kamishkatin fiha misbah. And within this cage of our ribs is placed our heart. This heart is the dwelling place of our ruh. That ruh. And that is why the ruh that sees, and Quran says the heart is seeing. This ruh listens, and Quran says this heart is listening. So actually the heart listens, that is the ruh within us. This is the inside, this is the internal experience that we have through our souls and through our spirits. So actually this parable now comes. You have that niche, in that there is the lamp. And the lamp is in a glass. Just as you know, there was the practice to have some lamp or lantern, there used to be some glass. Why? Because otherwise, air, if it is blowing, it will take that flame which is there to the east or to the west. But when it's the globe here, round that flame, it stands in one position. So that uniform distribution of light takes place in all the directions. Masalu nurihi kamishkatin fiha misbah, al misbahu fi zujajah, az zujajatu ka'annaha kawkabun durriyun. And now this glass, it appears to be a glittering and a shining and a radiant star. Now the most important part of this simile or similitude or parable comes now. In every lamp in the olden days, now you have electric lamp, no oil, you don't need any oil, or burning of any oil. But in the times of the revelation of the Quran, and not only at that time, even for more than 1,000 years after the revelation of the Quran, each lamp, needed some oil to be burnt in it. This oil, either it was of the mustard seed or the kerosene. These are different oils which were being used for lighting, and then they were burning. And then there are different categories. Some oils are very impure. They don't catch fire themselves. You have to have some medium. You place some cotton, that cotton is soaked in the oil, and then you ignite it. So it is now burning. The flame is there. Burning. This oil is burning through the agency of that cotton. So actually this oil is not catching fire by itself. Same is the case with kerosene. You need, some, what do you call it? What is it? Wick. We in Urdu call it batti. Some wick, you need something, some agency. And only then you can have the light. But there is now, we know it, an oil which we call petrol, the gas. It catches fire itself, as if it jumps to catch the fire. You don't light a match in the oil station, in the gas station. Why? It will catch fire by itself, as if it is impatient. It is ready to catch fire by itself. Now that would have been the simile had Quran been revealed today. But at the time of the revelation of the Quran, there was the olive oil, the purest form of oil that was being used in the lamps was the olive oil. And the purest olive oil used to be of a tree, olive tree, which was standing alone. This is also a saying of Abdullah ibn Abbas. La sharqiyatin wa la gharbiyah. What does it mean? That olive tree, which is either alone at the top, hilltop, or in the desert, so that the sun, it gets the energy, solar energy throughout the day. If there is a plantation of the olives and the tree is on the eastern side of the plantation, it won't get the sun in the evening. Only the morning sun will give it the sun and the energy, the solar energy. If it is on the western side, the morning sun will not be available to it, only the evening sun will be available. If it is in a thick plantation, only for some time when the sun is right on the top, only then it will get the solar energy. But a tree standing alone on a hillock, on the top of the hill, or in an open field, it gets the solar energy throughout the day, morning, midday, evening. And it is actually the solar energy which is stored in these trees. When you burn the wood, where do you get this fire from? The source is the solar energy. The process of photosynthesis is going on in the leaves of the trees. And that solar energy is being stored here, which when you burn the wood, you will get out. The source is the solar energy. So actually this has been taken here. Yuqadu, that lamp is lit or that is kindled, which that min shajaratin mubarakatin zaytunatin la sharqiyatin wala gharbiyah. Now these words are very important. That tree, not to the east, not to the west. But for humans also, these words are applicable. We should be above these distinctions of east and west. Darwesh Khuda mast na sharqi hai na gharbi. Iqbal has said it very beautifully. A person who is God conscious, Khuda mast, who has the knowledge of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, he is not neither eastern nor western. Actually these things are limitations to your minds. You should rise above these limitations of east and west. Darwesh Khuda mast na sharqi hai na gharbi. Ghar uska na Delhi, na Safaha, na Samarkand. He might have been born anywhere, but he doesn't belong to any place. Universality should be in the mind, in the thinking, in the psyche of a human being. In the same way, it's a beautiful couplet from him. Zamana ek, hayat ek, kainat bhi ek. Dalil kam nazari qissa qadeem o jadeed. Even the ancient and the modern, these distinctions are also very superficial. Same man, same psychology, same human psychology, same human physiology, same instincts, everything is the same. Zamana ek, hayat ek, kainat bhi ek. Dalil kam nazari qissa qadeem o jadeed. So ancient and modern, and east and west. These are actually, if you are thinking in these terms, your thinking becomes very limited. A God-conscious moment should be above these limitations. Anyhow, here you know, يُوقَدُ مِنْ شَجَرَةٍ مُبَارَكَةٍ زَيْتُونَةٍ لَا شَرْقِيَّةٍ وَلَا غَرْبِيَّةٍ يَكَادُ زَيْتُهَا يُضِيءُ وَلَوْ لَمْ تَمْسَسْهُ نَارٌ. The oil, zayt, it is so clear, so pure, that it is ready to burn, to kindle, ready to grow and shine, although fire might not have touched it. Now this is the, as I explained before, exactly the position of petrol. It's as if, you know, नग़मे बेताब है तारों से निकलने के लिए, एक जरा छेड़ तो दे ज़ख्मे मिज़राब हयात. There is, you know, music, you know, it's become impatient to come out of the wires of the instrument. In the same way, you know, light is impatient. It wants to come out. So that is actually the parable of the human nature which is pure. Again, let me use the word Luqmans of every time, who have that pure nature, and in the nature they have the knowledge and the love of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Only what you need is the Noor of Wahi, Noor of Fitrah, the light that every man has within him. Even the Western philosophers and writers use a term, the divine spark within the man. Every human being has a divine spark in him. There is light in it, and that light is of the nature, pure nature, that belongs to our ruh, that is within us. But actually, you need the light of Wahi also. When Wahi from outside and the light within, that is our ruh, these two, when they tally with each other, combine with each other, now Iman is complete. So Iman is actually a door, it's a light, and it is constituted, it is composed of two lights. One light which is there inherent in the human nature. كل مولود يولد على الفطرة فأبواه يهودانه أو يمجسانه أو ينصرانه فطرة الله التي فطر الناس عليها يسألونك عن الروح قل الروح من أمر ربي. That light is there within you, within me, within every person, within every newborn of the human species. That light is there. He's born with that light. But you know, because there are impurities, there are influences of this society, long education, then you know this light is hidden. But you know this Wahi, it comes and it kindles, you know, just a, you know, a matchstick is sufficient for an explosion in petrol. In the same way, that light, you know, suddenly it lights up and Iman is there, just as happened to Abu Bakr radiallahu ta'ala anhu. Just as would have happened to Zaid had he lived, you know, enough, long enough, when the beginning, till the beginning of Wahi to Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. He would have instantaneously accepted Iman. Rabbana innana sami'na munadiyan yunadi lil iman an aminu bi rabbikum fa amanna. So actually here also the same parable, the same subject has been discussed in the form of a parable, that Iman is actually the light, and that light consists of two lights, two constituents. Noorul Fitrah, the light of human nature, unpolluted, unperverted human nature. And then the light of Wahi which comes. There, because you know, time is over, I'll quote an ayah from the end, last part of Surah Shura, which will tell you this was the light which gave Iman to even Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And that will complete inshallah our discussion about this first parable, which is giving us the essence of Iman. أقول قولي هذا واستغفر الله لي ولكم ولسائر المسلمين والمسلمات.